Had a fantastic sort of developing bit of news today brought to you by no other than Jurgen Klopp, and it goes to show that my stance, my personal stance, and many others was right all along. Klopp has today confirmed it, that Liverpool have purposely waited for the moment that's going to be coming in the summer, which is a big rebuild. And it was down to what all of us could see. All of those that wasn't screaming for FSG to be out, all of us that wasn't screaming and blaming the owners. If you actually watch today's press conference and the actual clip that I've put on this group of Jurgen Klopp's words, he says that, yeah, well, we didn't change it last summer because we didn't think we had to, because we were in every game. We played 63 matches, we won the League Cup, we won the FA Cup, we got to the Champions League final. So we always knew that we would only act, which would always be too late to some fans. He even said today, Jurgen, that he understands fans that get pissed off because you're having to wait another year. And he also understands fans that call for his head, even though we don't, they're just idiots. But my point in being is this. All along, I've been told to get my head out of FSG's arse and all this and all that by people that are screaming for them to get out of the club. But Klopp has just nailed you. He's just completely destroyed you today, because he's actually just admitted that they have all waited. He's waited, Pep Lijnders has waited, FSG have waited, and they've waited for certain players to leave. But what Klopp said today is true. We can't go and do what Chelsea are doing now, where we can just go and say, right, here's 5, 6 players coming in, and not know if 5 or 6 are going out. Because that's just not good business. It's not the way it works. And that's been proven, case in point, by Chelsea's absolute lunatic spell in the last 2 windows. Klopp has just said today that we know. I don't know how many times they have to keep saying this. John Henry said it. Klopp said it today. I think Klopp's been told to say it today. Because basically it's to shut everybody up now that's just whinging. This is Klopp's words, so don't shoot the messenger. Jurgen Klopp said today, we will sort it, but we can't sort it now. So, classic example, we lost to Real Madrid. What's full on social media? People losing their heads. We need to bring this player in, that player in, this player in, that player in. FSG need to go, they need to go, they're out, they're out. Not knowing and not realising that we can't do that until the summer anyway, so what's the fucking point, right? Our job as supporters right now is to get behind the lads for Palace tomorrow night. Cannot wait for it. Again, we've got cup finals. You know, every game now is a cup final. So I'm just going to read out this piece because I was absolutely blown away by it, and not just because it supports my narrative, because I didn't know it did until I read it. It was just one of those where I actually started to realise that we've actually already started the transition that we're going to continue in this summer, and that's because we've actually brought in players already. And I'm just going to read this out, and you'll actually get what I mean by it. So, FSG have no need to apologise, as Liverpool critics miss the point. Now, what they mean by Liverpool critics is the people that are wanting the owners to go. Now, listen to this, and if you don't understand this, then you're never going to listen to people that have been trying to tell you why we don't want to think like you are. So listen to this. Claims Liverpool reached the end of an era against Real Madrid are somewhat late, but this summer will say much about FSG. It's almost as though people haven't been paying much attention to Liverpool this season. The fallout to the record-breaking Champions League humbling at home to Real Madrid has seen the great and not so good line up to opine on what's happened to the Reds this season. 2 seconds, I'm just going to read that out again because it's just popped up on something. So basically it says here, that particular boat sailed once the final whistle went in. No, sorry, I've just skipped to the wrong bit. Sorry, my apologies. It's almost as though people haven't been paying much attention to Liverpool this season. But the suggestion, the 5-2 defeat in the round of 16 legs signifies the end of the era. So the other night's result signals the end of the era is incorrect. And this is why. That particular boat sailed once the final whistle went in the most recent previous meeting with Real back in Paris last May. And Jurgen Klopp has already hinted heavily before then at the transformation that was to come. Still, it nevertheless has come as a surprise to many, perhaps shielding the painful reality that has long dawned on Liverpool supporters who have had to adjust their expectations accordingly throughout a season that has offered little in any way of encouragement. The problems have been too many of the players signed to effect the change required have for various reasons been unable to do so, leaving Liverpool over-reliant on those who have gone to the well perhaps now too often. Take Tuesday's game against Real Madrid. Ibrahima Konate, Thiago Alcantara and Luis Diaz, all bought since the Premier League title win in 2020, were unavailable. So was youngster Calvin Ramsey, and Diego Jota, another such signing, is recovering from an injury, while Darwin Núñez was hampered slightly by the shoulder injury and Cody Gakpo is only been in the club 2 months. So what they're trying to tell you there is this transition started in 2020. We've just been unlucky with injuries. Calvin Ramsey was the deputy for Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's not been able to kick a ball. Luis Diaz has had this lengthy layoff, but it goes into more detail here and it just blew me away. Yes, Real had a handful of players missing, but there's little doubt the inclusion of Konate, Thiago and Luis Diaz the other night would have made a difference to the eventual scoreline. Liverpool are further down the line than the naysayers, which is the FSG out brigade, may believe. The transformation, though, evidently needs accelerating considerably given the events of the last 6 months. So they already started the transition, but now, basically, so Konate is basically Van Dijk's successor. Luis Diaz was Sadio Mane's successor. You know, Thiago's coming in to boast the midfield up. Calvin Ramsey is a successor long term to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Diego Jota to Bobby Firmino, or maybe Salah, whatever the two. He's one of the striking options we can have. But anyway, regardless, the Reds aren't in the same situation as they were back in 2015 when Klopp took over from the sacked Brendan Rodgers. The Liverpool boss later sent a text message by Fenway Sports Group apologising for the squad he inherited. So John Henry sent Klopp a text back in October 2015 to apologise. Brendan Rodgers, sent a text to the Liverpool manager apologising for the squad he inherited. That playing staff needed a radical overhaul which took time in completing. Klopp requiring 6 transfer windows before he assembled a squad capable of challenging for both the title and the Champions League in the same 2018-19. But Liverpool are approaching matters now from a much healthier position than we were when Klopp took over in 2015. Even if it may not seem that way, having seen Klopp's side stumble their way through the opening weeks of 2023 year, before unravelling in spectacular fashion during the second half against Real Madrid. And Klopp will hope that there is no reason for FSG to fire off an apologetic message. It was FSG, that text Klopp apologising for the squad that he inherited. So it says here, and Klopp will hope there is no reason for FSG to fire off an apologetic message anytime soon. While not make or break this summer, the forthcoming transfer window will be one that shapes the Reds squad more than any since 2018 close season in which Alisson Becker, Fabinho, Naby Keita and Xherdan Shaqiri were all acquired. So people that say that, FSG don't spend money. That cost FSG around 175 million, raised in part through sales that summer and leftover cash brought in from the 172 million sale of Philippe Coutinho, right? So when you keep mentioning that, we bought Alisson and Van Dijk with the Coutinho money, you're forgetting that we signed Fabinho for 50 million, Naby Keita for 50 million, Xherdan Shaqiri for about 25 million. They were all included in that. This time around, 2 midfielders and a centre-back would be regarded as the bare minimum. So I think you'll agree on that. This time round, this summer, the bare minimum has to be 2 central midfielders and a centre-back. Anyway, while the situation is different given Liverpool don't possess the desire to cash in on any of their prize assets, the onus is on FSG, particularly given their recent revelation that they will remain as owners for the foreseeable future. To bankroll the ongoing rebuild, while Julian Ward, the outgoing sporting director, he will oversee the preparations of what will come for the summer. Appointing the right replacement to ensure a smooth transition as possible, it will be crucial. But it won't be done in one window this summer. This transition will not be done in one window. But everyone at Anfield now knows the wait for the next era cannot go on too long, having been accused of standing still in the transfer market in recent years. Now Liverpool have to again show why their recruitment, this is a big word here, their recruitment was once the envy of the Premier League, right? That is a fantastic, fantastic insight into the transition started after the Champions League final, when we brought in, obviously, Darwin Núñez, when we brought in Ramsey, you know, and we brought in lads that, you know, and before that we brought in, obviously, Thiago, and we brought in, you know, Konate, Diaz. So the transition is not going to happen in one window. It's going to take probably 2 or 3 windows. Because what we've got to do, and you'll agree with this, is we've got to get the dead wood out to bring in the players. And that's just not for financial reasons and for FSG to claim money back. That's for the squad rota. You can only have a certain amount of players. You have to have homegrown players. You have to have a certain amount of this, certain amount of that. So Klopp has then added to this piece today by saying, we waited, not FSG telling me I couldn't spend any money. We waited because at the time, last summer, we didn't think we needed to go so big in changes because we were in every game and we won 2 trophies, got to a Champions League final and nearly did a quadruple. Every single person before this season started, in fact, every single Liverpool fan, after we beat Manchester City in the Community Shield, thought we were going to go and storm onto a hell of a season this year. Because I did, thought we were going to possibly challenge for the league title, possibly win more trophies, possibly go and do the quadruple, because the confidence was so high. So if we could see that, we could believe it. Klopp did the same. FSG just go along with Klopp because he's in charge of the playing structure. So this is the reason why, I mean, I know a friend, a really close friend, she's a season ticket holder, she goes to Anfield every week. She was saying, why doesn't Klopp throw the owners under the bus? It's about time he did. And the reason why he hasn't is because he knows it's his, well, not his fault, but it's his choice. So today, he's finally come out and said that we decided to wait because we were waiting for players to leave because we need to get a few off the books, i.e. Naby Keita, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, James Milner, players like that. 4, 5, 6 will go. We've been trying to sell Nat Phillips for like 3 years. He needs to go, to again, not just for financial reasons, because it does help, but also for the quota and getting players in and that. And not just that, squad harmony. You don't want too many players. This is why Chelsea can't win a football match at the moment. There's too many. So I really want you to read this piece today and also listen to what Klopp said. And now we have to focus on being supporters, because you know what I'm going to do after this video? I'm going to do no more videos on FSG now to the summer. I'm going to knock it on the head. I'm not going to argue with people that want them to leave. I'm just going to leave it, because guess what? We can't do anything now until the summer window. But what I love about the summer window is next season could be amazing if we can get the right players in, i.e. Jude Bellingham, obviously Matheus Núñez, possibly Mason Mount, possibly a centre back. I heard we're looking at this Atlanta midfielder as well today. If we can get that in early, right, like we normally do with our signings, have a really good pre-season, Anfield will be 61,000 next season. I'm renewing my membership and I'm going to hopefully be on the road, and I'm going to try and get to as many games as I can. And it's going to be incredible. That new away end is absolutely mind-blowing. That aerial view you've seen of the ground the other night was absolutely great. You've got to stop hating owners that have provided so much for us, because now Klopp is confirmed that it was him that decided to wait because they believed in the squad and the players they had. And I've just said it right there and then. So did we. After we beat Man City in the Community Shield, we thought, wow, Núñez was unbelievable, Thiago was amazing, Konate was amazing. We thought, this is going to be a special season. They thought that. But then we got absolutely disgraceful injuries. We got Bobby out for 2-3 months, Luis Diaz out for 4-5 months, Diota out for 3 months. I mean, this is, half a season more or less. And that just ruined the confidence we had in sticking with them players. Virgil van Dijk's been in and out, and Klopp hit the nail on the head today. He's been absolutely slaughtered, Van Dijk, but that was his first game in how many weeks? You look at Jota, his touch was off, his movement was off, because he's not played in ages. It's the same for Virgil, but everyone thinks, like, Virgil's had to come out today and say, I'm not a robot. Everybody seems to think I am. He's not, he needs games. Sometimes as a football fan, you just have to say, shit happens. We can't go and have quadruple chases and win trebles and win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues every season. Sometimes finishing top 4, if that's the bare minimum. I remember the days when we were playing in the Europa League and the old UEFA Cup, so we're quite fortunate. Klopp said it today, we've been spoiled, right? The fans have been spoiled because we've qualified early for the Champions League every year. And do you know what? I'm going to say this and put this on record now. Even if we don't qualify for the Champions League this season, do you really think that people are still not going to want to sign for Liverpool? Do you really think that people are still not going to think this is just one bad season? Do you really think that people are not going to want to play for Klopp? We've still got the ace card. We've still got Jurgen Klopp. We've still got the best fans in the world. We've still got Anfield, the power of Anfield, right? And there's no shame. I'm not being funny. Manchester United, Barcelona, I watched it last night. Incredible atmosphere. The Europa League isn't bad. Because next season, if we ain't in the Champions League, we're going to need every tool possible to try and get back in the Champions League. The Europa League is the best trophy out there because that gets you back in the Champions League. So that gives us 2 chances next season. So what I'm saying to you, we all want the Champions League next season, we do. But if we have to go for 1 season, even 2, in the Europa League, whilst we rebuild and get this next window done and the next window done, get behind the lads. We had some amazing nights. I was at the Dortmund game in the Europa League and it was unbelievable. One of the best atmospheres I've ever been to in my life. 4-3, what a game. What a run. You know, you've got some huge teams in the Europa League now. You know, so what I'm saying to you is we've got to stop being spoiled. I'm not, because I can take that. I can, you know, I look at it like this. If we win the Europa League next season, I'll get to go to every game because I did when we were in the Europa League last time, because all the day trippers and all the people that are glory hunters and all the people that only go to the big games only want to go to the big games. They won't want to go and watch us playing St Gallen or a team like that in the Europa League. I mean, I remember when Klopp took over, I went to every game in his first season in the Europa League and the leagues and all that. We had like Sion in our group, Ruben Kazan, and Dortmund, and well, not Dortmund. Dortmund were in our group, but you know what I'm saying. I think it was, who was the other team? Bordeaux. I think it might have been Bordeaux. But anyway, all I'm saying is now, Klopp's confirmed. It's going to be a big summer for us. We're going to spend big. And when I say big, you know, it'll be probably 250 million in this window, and then obviously you'll get the FSG out brigade saying, well, we sold Nat Phillips for 15 million. We sold, you know, Fabinho for 25, for 30 million. Possibly we might even get. I mean, I'm not being funny. Someone might come in for Mo Salah. I'm not being funny if PSG offered 100 million for Mo Salah now. You know, he's still brilliant, Salah. I love him, but I'm just saying if they did, you possibly could look at it. But I wouldn't, because I think he's brilliant. But I'm just saying there's going to be twos and fro's. There's going to be outs and ins. That's football, and this is what I've tried saying to everybody. Football is not Football Manager. It's not Manchester City. Manchester City and Newcastle and PSG have no ceilings. Every other football club has to sell, right, in order to balance their books, right? And here's a thing I'll leave you with before I see if there's any comments or anything anybody wants to ask me. Have you not noticed that Man City have been selling quite a lot of their players over the last 2 or 3 windows? Why do you think that is? Because they knew that this investigation into the 115 charges was coming, and they literally tried to do the right thing and balance them books, and that's why they're all bragging about we've actually sold more players and made more money than we've spent. Yeah, because you got found out, and that's it. Every other football club has to work as a business, and that's just the way it is. So it is what it is. So anyway, I'm just going to go through to the comments now and read them out. So let's just have a little quick look here. Paul Hicken, FSG have our club at heart. I believe the good times will come back. I am confident on that. Bellingham will be a Liverpool player. We don't need oil money. We want everything without it. Totally agree. Alan Greenwood, well said, mate. Cheers, Beer McClendon. Hiya. How you doing? Hope you're all well. So, like I say, can you please all share the group because I want to get it bigger. Also, can you please join my YouTube page? It's really easy. You just go on YouTube, just go to Live Bird TV and you just click it. and you just subscribe. It's just free, because I need to get to 1,000 so I can start going live from Facebook. So I need your help with that. So share the group, invite your friends, and hopefully I'm back tomorrow. Not hopefully, I will be back tomorrow from when I finish work, and we'll do some pre-Palace videos. Love yous all. Keep your chins up. We're going to come back. You'll never walk alone.